Hey guys, Brent Hull back here at the Lake House project. We are through foundation, 98%. There's still a little bit of stuff on the front there. We're starting the framing, kind of an exciting stage. I want to talk to you about that. I want to talk to you about stonework and how we're going to tell a story with stone. Come join me. We've now got the foundation in, right? So you're seeing some of the waterproofing, you're seeing the dimple mat here, you're seeing our nerve center down here where we are gonna have all our mechanicals, right? You're seeing how the pier and beam kind of sets up and kind of how we put this together. We wanted to have plenty of room down there to move around for storage, for mechanicals and things like that. We've got these big LVLs in there. We've got these glue lambs. We've got a bunch of great stuff in here. You see too, that extra wide brick ledge. You know, typically a brick edge is like 5 inches, okay? What that is it allows 4 inch for the brick or stone, an inch air gap between that and the framing. In this case, we're extra wide. I'm gonna show you when we're talking about the stonework why, but we've got this element that goes up that kind of gives the original house this stance and this strength that's real important. So that's what you're looking at here. We've got the garage going on too. Now the garage is on a slab, and so it's going to be a little bit different the way we're putting it together. This will all get framed in with joists and a pier and beam construction. I've had architects tell me that building on a slab is like building a tent, like with a sneer in their voice. And so I don't actually have a problem with slab. It is a cheaper form of construction, okay? The slab construction is a post-World War II, faster build kind of thing. So the advantages of a pier and beam are that you actually get access to mechanicals, and when it's laid out properly, of course, I'm a purist and I like that kind of stuff. But anyway, framing's going on. Let's go check out the garage. Where we are, this is a porch that runs around to the front of the house. This is your 3-car garage. We've got a workspace and kind of a storage space on the other side. You'll see these big glue lambs up there and them kind of locking in the trusses and the different pieces in there as you look at that. This framing is probably going to be a 3 to 4 month project on this house. It's a big house and there's a lot of work to do. Kind of the magic of this thing is going to be in the rafter tails, going to be in the stonework, going to be in the garage door type. So framing is pretty standard. I think we use really high quality woods and trusses and all the different things that you're seeing, but the magic of this thing really comes in the story that we're going to tell. I think that's important because we're going to talk about the stone. We've already started kind of putting the stone together and figuring it out. There's a boathouse down at the lake. They're putting block. They're making it out of block down by the water. In case it flooded, we wanted to be able to have something that's going to last a long time. So it's going to be block construction with stone in the outside. I'm going to show you how we're telling the story with stone. So come on. So now we're down at the boathouse, right? And you can see that we're getting much closer to the lake. One, this is a test piece for us, right? Because we're actually going to put the roof on here. This will be our sample wall. Notice we're building our walls, okay? We're not doing stud framing in there. Our walls are going to be Haydite block, okay? They're block walls. Then we're putting stone on top of that. And so, one, if it floods or anything else, it's a much more long-lasting building. It doesn't, there's no mold or anything that's going to happen in there. Running electrical's a little bit harder or whatever else. But remember, when we were at Alice Beach, that's how they're building, right? They're building everything with Haydite block. They're filling it and obviously strengthening that, then putting stucco on the outside. That is a building type and a building method that makes a lot of sense. Think about 100 years ago or 200 years ago, this would have been solid stone, right? So instead of having a 4-inch stone, you'd actually have an 8 or 12-inch stone to be a solid stone wall. That's a good way to build. I know the guy up in Oklahoma, the 1,000-year house, that's the way he's building with brick. It makes a lot of sense. We've done a little bit of solid masonry stuff. I'd like to do more. This is where the original picture from the architect, I changed it to tell a story. And let's go up and look at the stone up there, and I'll show you how, by looking at and playing with the stone texture, size, and detail, we can tell a story.